What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Callahan Brothers Racerback Cast. It's Florida week. Bunch of stuff going on in the SEC right now as far as COVID, and as you all know, Pittman's got it right now. He tested positive Monday, and then tested positive again today. He was hoping that it was going to be a false positive, but unfortunately, it wasn't. So we got Barry Odom taking over for now. Man, what do you think about that?
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal, really. I mean, the guys are obviously going to play hard for whoever. They just have the right mindset. Pittman's obviously going to be in contact with everybody, talking to them about as far as motivating them, and I'm sure he's going to be involved with the coaches as far as conversations about developing the game plan and things. And so, although he's not going to be at practice, he's still going to be involved in the process of getting them prepared for this game. He's just not going to be the one, calling the shots per se.
Right. I agree. Honestly, I think if anything, maybe it makes our players play harder because they know Pittman's not going to be there. And they want to get that win for him. And then obviously we all know, Felipe Franks, that's where he played before he came here. So, whether he says it or not, he's going to have a lot of emotions going into that game. And obviously he's going to want to play well. I saw something on Twitter earlier. Some people were talking about Florida, and they were saying that Florida possibly had the best offense in the country. And they do have a really good offense. I agree. But to say that they have the best in the country, I think that's a little far-fetched. I mean, in my opinion, they're in the top 3 in the SEC, probably. But as far as the best in the country, I just don't think that you can validate that argument.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to know. I mean, they did put up a bunch of points against Texas A&M, and they put up a bunch of points against a good Georgia defense last week. So statistically, hard to know. But seeing as how we're in the best conference in football, and they beat, arguably one of the best defenses in football, I'd be willing to bet that they're one of the top offenses in the country. The only one that I can think of, I can think of a couple that might be a little bit better as far as talent and production will probably maybe be Clemson or Alabama would probably be the two that stand out the most to me. And definitely Alabama just because of the people they played. I mean, granted, I understand what you're saying. I don't know that they're the best in the country, but I also know we can't take them lightly either.
Right. They got a really good quarterback in Trask. He makes really good decisions. He has great stats on the year. I was looking back, man, and he's thrown 22 touchdowns this season, got a little over 1,800 yards passing, and he's only thrown 3 picks. Now, compared to that to somebody like Franks has almost 1,500 yards passing with 14 touchdowns and only 3 picks. And obviously, us as Arkansas fans and really I would say most people in the country probably think that Franks is having a heck of a season. But, you compare them to as far as stats, and obviously Trask is quite a bit ahead of Franks in the yards and in touchdowns columns. So, we're going up against a good football team. They do have a good offense. They're going to be able to run the ball. They are going to throw the ball. I don't think they're going to, run it down our throats per se like, Tennessee did. I think they're going to probably stick more to the pass game. I think that's what they're more comfortable with, which obviously gives us opportunities. But then again, I mean, Texas A&M kind of lit us up in the pass game, and the run game. But it'll be a good game. I think the main key to this game is we got to get out to a good start. We have to start fast. I think we really need to score first in this game and get up early. I think that's our best chance at winning a game on the road like this.
For sure. I mean, one thing that we do have that might change the outcome of the game and may even might change the destination too. Is there is supposed to be a hurricane coming in this week. So the chances of us playing in an atmosphere and environment with lots of water and wet conditions to where, not the most ideal conditions, the thing for me is that, that's not the best situation for Florida. That's better for us. And Florida doesn't run the ball a lot. That's something that plays into our favor a little bit too. So they're going to be a little bit more, obviously they're going to be mixed. I'd say more closely related to like a Lane Kiffin type offense, or like more, even a little bit closer to Mike Leach. They're going to run the ball, but it's not going to be near as much as what we saw even with A&M. So it comes down to their offensive line for me. If we can disrupt Kyle Trask just a little bit, like I said, we'll see what happens. But if we get into a shootout with them, I don't think that that's something that we're going to win. And our style obviously is hurry up, move the ball down the field. Granted, though, against Tennessee, we did have some 17-play drives that took 5 minutes. And if, obviously you do that 3 or 4 times and go down and score, even if you only score 28 points, well, you've eaten up, 20 minutes of the clock. So that's important, and that's something that I think that will be important and play a huge factor in us having an opportunity to win the ball game.
Yeah, I agree. I think 17-play drives in Arkansas football right now, that's something that's kind of unheard of because we're, like you said, we're a team that we go fast. Getting 17 plays out of a drive is quite a bit for us. But yeah, man, looking into that game, I think since we're talking about, the main factors for us to pull out an upset win there, I think another main thing, and I've mentioned this pretty much every game, is we have to win the turnover battle. And obviously we've done a pretty good job this season not turning the ball over. Realistically, we're pretty good in that aspect, but I think Florida's defense is, well, most of the season has been a little bit questionable until, last game. They only allowed Georgia, 24 or 28 points? I don't remember exactly what it was. So maybe you have to reevaluate that a little bit. But I think we're going to be able to move the ball. As long as we can move the ball and score, and we don't give up turnovers, but we create them, I think we have a great chance to maybe not win. Obviously, we do have a good chance to win. But more than anything, it's going to be a competitive football game, excuse me, if we're able to create turnovers and we're able to protect the ball.
Yeah, for sure. And, Florida's defense may have played well last week, but in the second half, Georgia's quarterback was riddled with injuries. It was hard for them to get him back in the game, and there were multiple drives there where he didn't play, and they had to rely on their second string quarterback there, and I think it's DeJuan Mathis if I'm not wrong. And if y'all remember, that's the quarterback that Arkansas got up in the first half. I think was it 10-7 or whatever it was, or 7-3, whatever the score at halftime was at the Georgia game. There, you're talking about that's the quarterback that limited Georgia's offense to where we were able to get to that point. And no discredit to the guy, but that's just, that's the truth of the matter. And no discredit to Arkansas, because obviously we've improved every week, and we've shown that we were more than capable of playing in that football game and being on the same field as Georgia. We've proved that 3 times this year now, really. But I think our offense has a chance. I think that the problem is going to be for us slowing them down, and the thing is, I feel like that they've got enough film and they've got enough to look at to go back through all of Florida's games and to try to develop a little bit of a game plan, because there's going to be lulls in scoring that Florida's had in at least one game, and Barry Odom's going to try to probably copy that. I mean, obviously, you've seen the adjustments that we made last week in order to defeat the Tennessee team, and you would have to think that Tennessee probably developed some blocking schemes and set up their run plays in a little bit different ways to attack what they thought Barry Odom's defense was going to be. And I wouldn't be surprised if, Florida tries to do some of the same, but I would expect this week that we are probably going to see a little bit more of that rush three and be in that zone and try to disguise that zone. Callahan's going to be here and we're healthy all the way around the board. Bumper pulls back and all that. So I really think that the opportunity is there for us to disrupt them. And I don't necessarily think we're going to get the win. And I'm sorry if anybody disagrees with me there, but I definitely think that we have a good opportunity to make it a competitive football game and for sure cover the spread, which remains to be at 17.
Yeah, I mean, this on the season we're 5-0 or 6-0 against the spread. I don't even know how many games we played. We're 6-0 against the spread. So yeah, I think when they set that at 17 points, you can not necessarily easily say, but I think we stay within 17 for sure. Man, just looking on this, it's a little bit off topic, but kind of looking at this season in whole, I mean, did you really think right now we would be sitting at 3-3, arguably 4-2, going into the Florida game? I mean, I think that's a huge – I didn't think many people would – deep down, I didn't think we would be here. But, I mean, I had that hope that we would, have some success this season. I knew we would have more success than we did with Chad Morris. But realistically, I mean, I think we're well ahead of where we're supposed to be right now.
Yeah, for sure. And, you have those people basically bringing themselves together or blowing their lid over the fact that, we said that we thought that Mississippi State and Ole Miss were gettable. Well, that's fine. But you go, the first game of the season, we get blown out to Georgia, and these are preseason predictions, and clearly Georgia's the number 4 team in the country, or was at the time. So, but here's my thing. There's no way that anybody really truly believed, because everyone knows what Mike Leach does. Everyone knows that Lane Kiffin is a formidable head coach, and Mike Leach was capable of putting up 50 points, and our defense was a huge question mark at this point. You know what I mean? So there's nobody that can tell me with confidence that they thought that we were going to beat Mississippi State and Ole Miss. And then there's nobody that can in confidence tell me that we should have a win against Auburn right now and should be 4-2 right now. So, I mean, if you told me that we were going into week 7 and we were 500 going into the swamp, I'd gladly take it. And I'd tell you that Sam Pittman deserves to be SEC Coach of the Year, if not the National Coach of the Year, and those things all remain to be true. On top of that, we got Jalen Callahan, who's been SEC freshman or SEC Defensive Player of the Week, 4 times now?
Yeah,
I think 4 times now.
Yeah.
And then Grant Morgan's been SEC Defensive Player of the Week, and Bumper Pool, and I mean, our defense is just a highlight, and I truly think that there's nobody that thought as a whole these things would be happening. Even last week, man, in the third quarter of that football game, our offensive line played phenomenal. You know what I mean? I mean, the only play that transgressed to where was when Felipe Franks rolled out and escaped the pocket and hit Burks for that touchdown pass. And you can arguably say that him rolling out's what broke the coverage down anyway. So, regardless, man, I just feel like that there's nobody that knew that we were going to be this good. And honestly, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if we win this weekend, can you imagine how big it's going to be to win this weekend, have opportunities to beat both LSU and Missouri and go into Alabama at the end of the season at 6-3. You know what I mean? To go there at 6-3, like that might be the 2:30 game on CBS. We never get that. The game of the week and on College Game Day. And is it at Alabama or is it at Arkansas?
It's at Arkansas. It's a home game.
So College Game Day could be in Fayetteville, dude. I mean, if I were you and I were in Arkansas, I'd go ahead and buy the tickets if it were me. Because you never know.
I mean, even if we lose this game, I think there's still a potential of that, being the big game of the week. But yeah, I agree. I mean, nobody thought we were going to be here right now. If we were to go and upset Florida, it would be insane, the amount of attention we would get. I mean, I'm not saying that we aren't right now, but just think about what else that brings to the table. And I kind of want to step back to the Tennessee game. Obviously, the first half was pretty rough. I feel like they were just cramming it down our throats. We had no answer at all, and we weren't able to get any pressure on the quarterback. We weren't able to stop the run. Then all of a sudden, the third quarter, it's like everything just clicked. Probably the best quarter the best quarter we've had this season was, third quarter against Tennessee. And I'm going to tell you what, when we decided to kick that 48-yard field goal, I was questioning it myself. But we ended up making it, and, we scored 24 points that quarter. They didn't score any. They didn't score any in the second half. Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on what did you see in the first half that changed to the second half? Or what changed? What adjustments did we make to set up that success?
Well, first off, I mean, I think one of the biggest things was Tennessee. We made some adjustments right before the half, and we kind of slowed them down. And I think we kind of set up what we were going to do in the second half. But I think we just knew that they were not going to be able to throw the ball. Their quarterback was not – and their receivers weren't better than our secondary. So we brought a line down. Cover 3, and that helped stuff the run a lot. And, then Julius Coach just played. He was always around. So his development has been extremely fun to see. And then obviously we got our offense going and we put some pressure on him, because when you're running the football and you get up 13-0, guess what? You don't have to stray away from that. But when we went down, scored, got the ball back, went down and scored again, all of a sudden it's 14-13. They're like, oh, they can't just shove the ball down our throat anymore. They've got to try to push the ball down the field and try to score. So I think they went into a little bit of panic mode and didn't know what to do. And offensively, I think we just started giving the ball to our playmakers. You kind of saw it on the first drive, and then it stalled out. But we got the ball to Warren a couple of times, and then we got the ball in the hands of Burks. And man, I'm going to tell you, and I've been waiting a long time to say this, but I've really wanted to make sure, and now I'm completely comfortable with saying this. Traylon Smith's a better running back than Rakeem Boyd. I don't know if he just fits better in our system or what it is. He gets more yards after contact. He hits the whole way harder. He seems to find a crease all the time, and he finds cutback lanes. And I just feel like behind the line of scrimmage, Rakeem Boyd, I don't know if he's lazy or what the deal is, but he just can't seem to find those creases, and he especially can't make the right cuts to bounce those 15 and 20-yard runs like Traylon Smith can. And I don't know what the issue with that. I don't know if the offensive line blocks harder for him or what the deal is. And then another thing I saw in the Tennessee game real quick is we were talking about the kicker, because that kicker missed 2 field goals, did he not? And then finally in the third quarter, he went down and made that 48-yarder. But I really think that just tells us everything we need to know about Sam Pittman and what he's trying to instill in this football team, because even after he missed those 2 field goals, Sam Pittman's like, hey, man, you're going to make this one. I've got enough confidence in you. We've got enough confidence in you. And I feel like that's the same message that the whole team is getting is that I've got confidence in y'all that we can beat whoever, that, that our offense is going to go score points, that you can make this field goal, that our defense is going to slow even Florida down or Tennessee down. And that's something that really stood out to me in that football game.
Yeah, I agree. I think I actually heard Pittman say that, if he wasn't able to trust him to make the field goal then how could he ever trust him again? And like you said, I think he's just got his players believing, and he believes in them, and that's how the culture has changed. Because I mean, obviously, you saw last season, it was not like that at all, and I think they've almost developed a little bit of that untrust or bad culture or whatever you want to call it at Auburn. I think you see that on the sideline where they're arguing him, Chad Morrison, the quarterback, Nix, or whoever. You should never see that. That's something you don't see that on our sideline. You might see somebody get mad and walk and sit down or whatever, but you don't see coaches and players going at it like you do at Auburn right now. And I think Pittman's came in and actually changed the culture like we've heard was going to happen for the past few seasons. But yeah, man, looking back at that game, the first half I was a little sick, to be honest. But like you said, I think right before halftime, we started to show that we kind of had them figured out. And I think either Poole or Grant actually came out and said, we knew what they were running. We just couldn't stop it. And or maybe it was one of those guys, maybe Callahan, I don't even remember. But, we figured out how to stop it. We came out, we scored. I think we forced them to a 3-and-out. We went and scored again. And, I mean, that was pretty much all she wrote, honestly. Like, we just dominated the second half, or really just the third quarter. And then I hear a lot of criticism about, the fourth quarter and how we were trying to run clock. And obviously everybody knows when we try to run clock, that's not what we do. We're not to slow it down, conserve clock, or not conserve clock, but draw out drives and try to run the clock. That's not what we do. So obviously, we're not going to have extremely successful drives when we do that. But at the same time, let's say we go out and we're going fast and we 3-and-out. Well, you've ran, 30 seconds off the clock or whatever it is. So you've got to kind of take the good with the bad. Like we have to run the clock. We have to. We're up, whatever it was, a few scores, couple scores. We got to run the clock. I mean, you don't want them to have a chance to catch up. And I think that's something people got to understand. But, that's just how fans are. Nobody's ever going to agree on everything. So you just kind of you got to take.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we want to be more successful and towards the end of the game and put it in the game away, and we don't want to sit there and be, like we scored 24 points in the third quarter, and then in the fourth quarter we're running the ball and trying to just run clock, and it makes you a little uneasy because you're like, hey, why is our offense stalling out? Like, y'all just found a rhythm. Why are we stopping that? And to those people, I understand what you're saying. It seems like we finally, we put up 24 points in a quarter, and if we can maintain a pace like that, obviously we would be considered one of the best offenses in college football. But here's the thing. You can't lose that game by throwing interceptions or by losing the field position battle. You have to run the ball, run the clock, and put yourself in positions that if you do have to punt, you can pin them back deep. I mean, we can't throw an interception and put them in field goal range, because I don't know if people seem to have forgotten, but their field goal kicker had a leg. I mean, he made a 51-yarder, so they didn't have to be, what they had to get to. If they got to the 38-yard line, they could kick a field goal. Or, well, not maybe 34. I don't know. 34, yeah. So, that they didn't have to necessarily move the ball too far into our side of the field to be in field goal range. So, it sucks. You may disagree with it, but if you like that kind of stuff, then maybe, go watch Chad Morris or something.
Yeah, and I forgot to touch on this. You were talking about Boyd and Smith earlier. And man, I've kind of been thinking this all season, and I talked to, Doug or Bo or whoever I'm watching the game with about it. And this year, to me, it just seems like Boyd, he just acts like he has nothing to prove. Like, he knows how good he is, and he thinks the fans know how good he is. So he's just like, I'm going to take this season easy, do what I got to do and get out. That's almost the vibe I'm getting from him, because you see him run and Smith run. I mean, there's obviously a difference there. Smith is hitting the holes hard, and he's extending runs, and, he's doing things that you want to see from your running back. And I think Boyd is just, man, I don't know. It's tough to watch, because we all know how good he actually is. And the performance that we're getting this year, I feel like, is so far from what he could be doing. And maybe it's just, the past two seasons was Morris. He's just almost over it. I don't know. It's just, something's lacking there, and I think everybody can see it.
I mean, there also remains the possibility that he was the bright spot in a subpar offense. That, he was something that made us look better than what we thought we were. And, the possibility remains. I mean, either he could be not trying very hard, or he could be trying too hard. You know what I mean? Like, every run, he's trying to hit that home run, and that's not what we need you to do. Like, get us that 5 yards, get us that 6 yards, and then one of these times you'll find that seam, and then you can go. But, we haven't had that home run play out of him, and it seems almost weird that we haven't had a 30 or 40-yard touchdown run out of him, because I feel like he has the speed. I don't understand why he doesn't have that opportunity. And, you at some point you can't blame anybody but him, because, as we just discussed, our offensive line's getting better, it seems like, and they're spreading the ball around him so that the defense can't just key in on him. I mean, we know they're not, because we haven't been able to run the ball this year. So they're trying to stop, Burks and honestly, at this point, Mike Woods, that dude, seeing him catch the ball in traffic like he's been doing, I mean, he's really developed, and he is our clear-cut, second or third best receiver. I mean, between Burks and him and Davion Warren, I mean, if our offensive line can improve as much from the A&M game to the Tennessee game, if we could keep improving that much each week, I don't see any reason why we couldn't, have an opportunity. If they can play like they did in the third quarter last week, we can have an opportunity to go into Florida and do really special things.
Yeah, I agree. But then again, you got to think A&M had a better defensive front, or defense and all, than Tennessee. But regardless, we're seeing improvement. And I don't think that Florida's defense isn't A&M's defense. Florida's defense is going to allow us to score. I think the main thing is just we've got to win the turnover battle again, and we've got to get pressure on Task and, disrupt his passes. And like you said, I think we have a great chance to go in there and do something really good, whether that be a win or just keeping it extremely close. I hope we go in there and win. But, we're playing against Florida. They're really good. Since we're talking about it, the line on this game, I've been thinking about it a little bit, and I hope I'm wrong. But in the end, I think they're going to beat us something around 42-31. That's where I'm at with it. Task is going to throw touchdowns. It's going to happen. I think we'll keep it close, and then they'll probably pull ahead in the end. That's my thought. But I don't know. We may beat them. We may beat them something like 35-20. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. We can just look at stats and what we've done this year and what they've done, and decide. But this is SEC football. Crazy things happen. Nobody thought we were going to go in there and beat Auburn. We didn't, but we did. Um, so I don't know. I mean, what's the line you got on that game?
I mean, I like Arkansas to cover, so it's really hard for me to pick a score because I'm trying to think like field goals. And I'm not trying to overcomplicate it, but the possibility that Florida is going to move the ball down the field and that us holding them to a field goal is actually a moral, like, and I hate this word, but moral victory. Like us not allowing them to get in the end zone is huge. So if we can hold them to 2 field goals, 3 field. Let's see here. I like 51 to 37 or 51-35, something like that. Where we covered the spread, even if it's just by a point, but they still I don't even know what the over-under is on it. Do you have any idea what the over-under is?
I haven't looked at it, no. I'm assuming it's probably pretty high. But yeah, I agree. I mean, with my score, I didn't really account for field goals so much. I don't think they would have that many. I mean, you can arguably say that they go for 2 once and kick 2 field goals and still come out at 42. But, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. But I really don't know. You never know. I know we're going to come in with a good game plan, as we always do. The guys are going to be fired up. Like we said, Franks is coming into Florida after he had played there before, and he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and Pittman's not going to be there. So the guys are going to want to win for him, going to want to win for Franks. And then, like you said, weather's probably going to play a factor in this game. I saw some reports where maybe it's just a 35% chance. But, I mean, it's a hurricane. You never know what's going to happen. So I figure there might be some sloppy conditions. I wish they'd just go ahead and move it to Fayetteville and we could have another home game. But that's not going to happen. So, yeah, you got to think that this is going to be one of those games where we're grinding it out to the end. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be something where we watch the first half and think, well, this is – it's over. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. I think it's going to be probably closer than most analysts have said. I haven't listened to a lot of people, but I figure they're saying that Florida's going to pretty well dominate us, and I don't think that's going to be the case. But we'll see. Did you find the over-under on that game?
Yeah, it's 63. So my prediction puts us at like a lot, 86.
Yeah, see, mine's over too. 42, 31, 72 points or 73 points. So, yeah, I mean, I would take the over on that because I think we will score. I don't think it's going to be a low-scoring game by any means. I mean, maybe if it's, the weather's really bad and, the field's extremely wet, that's obviously going to affect the score. But you got to think this is going to be a fairly high-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be a real high-scoring game, but it's somewhere in the middle there. I think it would be hard to say that it's not going to be, in the 40s.
Right. I mean, maybe like a, I don't know, 26 to 37 or well, that's not even a spread of 17. I'm trying to figure that out here. No, that is 17. No, it's not. So it's really hard for me to figure it out because you want to get right at. But anyhow, well, here's what I think they have on number fire is like 41 to 15 or something like that, 39 to 21, something like that. So I mean, who knows, man? There's no telling, but I really believe that we have an opportunity to, like I said, like we've said multiple times, to keep it close. And I really think that we're playing for something, that Franks is going to be playing for something. The guys are going to want to, win for not only Franks at this point, but Felipe. And when you're playing hard like that, either you're going to beat yourself or you're going to, come out and show the world something. So who knows, man?
Right. How much, we've kind of heard people talking about this. How much do you think Franks' running game is going to go into this game? Like, how much do you think we're going to utilize that or use him in the running game like we've seen the past couple of games. Because I think, a lot of people are arguing that, it's pretty obvious that he's helping us when he's running the ball some. So I figure that's probably going to be part of the game plan. He's going to continue to scramble and make adjustments at the line the way he sees it, and probably call the best play, which sometimes will be him keeping it. I feel like that's something that we're probably going to continue to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see. Now, I know it benefits our run game as far as our running backs too, but one thing I want to say for sure is that I want to see less of it in the red zone, but I want to see more of it in the open field. I think it works well in the passing game when we have 5 wide, and I think that's why they're utilizing that, because it does give him the opportunity to scramble for those on third and 5, 3rd and 6, whenever everybody's spread out, the defense is spread out, and it gives him the opportunity to run the football. And I think it helps in our run game too. But I honestly think that, Florida is the worst defense that we've played all year up until this point. And I don't think that we're going to have to rely on that as much. But, if it helps, it helps. So, but one thing I wanted to say about Felipe Franks, I was reading an article today, or somebody had posted, and it was some guy named, and I don't know the context because I didn't read the original post. I just read somebody's comment about it. And essentially somebody had predicted, I think it might have been SEC Mike, that Franks was going to transfer and seek another year of eligibility somewhere else. And, I jokingly commented on there and was like, well, I mean, how does he know? Does he just call Franks up? Are they buddies or what have you, because – and I don't see that, man. I don't see Franks being that kind of character. I think that he's going to stay, and I think that he really wants to be a Razorback and help develop this team if he decides to come back and play college football even.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think that would be – I don't see him doing that at all. I don't – we've got a good thing going here, and I think he wants to be part of it just like everybody else does. If anything, I think he'll enter the draft. If he leaves, he's going to the draft. He's not going to another team. And I could be wrong, but I really don't see him doing something like that. But hey, man, you never know. I mean, he's had a pretty rough career. It's not that bad, but he's transferred and got injured, and right now he's probably playing the best football he's ever played. So to think that he's going to try to go to another school and help their program out versus staying or entering the draft, I think that's a little far-fetched.
For sure, man. I mean, and I'm sure he believed that it was possible for them to have the kind of season that they're having, but that he came here to turn things around, but I'm sure he's pleasantly surprised with how much better they've gotten, and I'm sure that if he had an opportunity to take another year to make things even better, that if he decided he didn't want to go to the draft, that's what he would do. Now, I'm not to speak for him. I want him to do whatever. I'm grateful that he decided to come here and help Sam Pittman and Kendall Briles and even Barry Odom make the progression that we've made thus far. So I'm thankful to him for that, and he owes us nothing else as far as I'm concerned. But I just think the kind of person that he is, that we will, if he decides to continue to play college football, that he'll be in Arkansas next year.
Yeah, I agree. Well, guys, we both of us are predicting that we don't win this game. It's going to be close. Hopefully we're wrong, but it's going to be a tough game on the road. We got a really good opponent. We appreciate y'all listening. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, podcast. We have podcasts on every platform. Check them out, download them out. We haven't posted one in a little bit because we ended up doing a Facebook Live video last week. So, yeah, man, y'all check us out. We appreciate all y'all listening. And y'all remember, we're right and y'all are wrong.
And y'all come see us.